The day Mama needed a better job. Baby Bookworm was having a wonderful day at preschool. He colored pictures, played with blocks, and listened closely during story time. Over at her own school, Ellie was busy with her class, working hard and doing her best. Mama, however, was at home. She sat at the small kitchen table, a cup of lukewarm coffee in her hands, staring out the window. She worked 2 jobs, one right after the other, every single day. Even with all that work, the bills were barely getting paid. What Mama wanted more than anything wasn't just more money. She wanted more time with her kids. Later that afternoon, Mama found herself sitting at one of the local eateries in town, enjoying a quiet moment alone. Just a few seats away sat a gentleman in a neat uniform. After a moment, he glanced over and smiled kindly. "Trying to find a new job?" he asked. Mama hesitated, then nodded. "Yes, but it's really difficult." "I don't mean to step on any toes," the man said, "but have you ever thought about working for the UE Navy?" Mama blinked. "The Navy? What would I even do?" "Well," he said with a chuckle, "you could do a lot of things. You could be a pilot, work in the mess hall, or, if you're good with equipment, you could even be an engineer." Mama's eyes widened. "Wow, that's a lot." "Oh, you have no idea," he replied. She thought about it for a long time. The idea of working on a military base made her nervous, but something deep inside her said she should at least try. So she filled out an application and waited. A few days later, Mama found herself sitting in an office across from a man named Captain Peterson. "We're just going to have you take a simple test," he said. "It helps us see what you're best at." Mama swallowed hard. A test she didn't get to study for? That was scary. The testing hall was huge, filled with dozens of people. Everyone took their seats as the papers were passed out. "Begin," the instructor said. Mama scanned the questions, and to her surprise, she knew many of the answers. At one of her jobs, she fixed the milkshake machine almost every day. When the fryer stopped working, she was always the one who crawled in and fixed it. Before she knew it, the test was over. Next came the hands-on portion. An engine part was placed in front of her. Something was wrong with it, but no one told her what. Mama studied it quietly. Almost like magic, she knew exactly what to do. Within moments, she adjusted a few pieces and handed it back. "I'm not completely sure," she said softly, "but I think it should be working now." The examiner connected it to the rest of the engine and flipped the switch. The motor roared to life, running smoothly and effortlessly. The examiner inspected her work carefully, made a mark on his clipboard, and nodded. "You can wait in the hall." Mama waited. And waited. Soon doubt crept in. Her heart sank. "I didn't get it," she thought. Feeling embarrassed and disappointed, Mama gathered her things and headed home. At least she still had her other 2 jobs. This one had probably been out of her league anyway. What she didn't know was that the examiner came out later looking for her. "Did you see the woman who was testing here earlier?" he asked Captain Roberts. "Yes," Captain Roberts replied. "She gathered her things and left." "Find her," the man said firmly. "I want her working here." Captain Roberts assumed she lived on the military base and searched everywhere. But Mama didn't live there. She lived on another planet, Laroville. Nearly a week later, Captain Roberts finally realized his mistake. After a short trip off-world, he arrived at her home and knocked on the door. Baby Bookworm opened it. "Is your daddy home?" he asked. Bookworm tilted his head. "I don't have a daddy. Are you going to be my daddy?" Just then, Mama stepped out. "Bookworm, go play," she said gently. "Hello, sir. How can I help you?" Captain Roberts explained everything about the test, the engine, and how she had earned the position, but left before anyone could tell her. Mama froze. Then her eyes filled with joy of tears. She had gotten the job. Ellie and Kylie were overjoyed when they heard the news. Mama sat down with Kylie and smiled. "Just think, Mama said. I can afford to hire someone to help take care of baby bookworm while I'm working. You can have a life again. Go see your friends. Kylie's face lit up. That would be amazing. And for the first time in a long while, Mama felt something warm and bright in her heart. Hope. A new place, a new start. The next day, Ellie and Kylie were at the local mall, enjoying a quiet Sunday together. They wandered from shop to shop, sipping warm drinks and talking about everything, and eventually, about Mama. So, Ellie said, leaning against the railing, if your mom starts working at the military base on Microtech, doesn't that mean you'd have to move? Kylie stopped walking. I hope not, she said softly. All my friends are here. Ellie nodded, then thought for a moment. But the trip from here to Microtech would take hours. She'd have to leave super early just to be on time. Kylie's eyes widened as she did the math in her head. She'd have to leave at 1 a.m. every morning, she said slowly. And she puts baby bookworm to bed at 8. Ellie looked concerned. She'd never sleep. Kylie swallowed. You're right. Later that day, Mama was on the floor in the playroom playing with baby bookworm. Blocks, gears, and colorful parts were scattered everywhere. Kylie rolled her bike into the garage, went inside, and called out, Hey, Mom, can we talk? Sure, darling. Give me just a second. She handed baby bookworm a small pile of parts. If you can put this together, I'll give you a star. Baby bookworm squealed with excitement and immediately got to work. Mama joined Kylie in the kitchen a moment later. Mama, Kylie said, taking a deep breath, I think we should move to Microtech. Mama blinked. What about your friends? That's okay. Friends stay friends even if you move. We can still meet up sometimes, and I can make new ones. Mama hesitated. They offered us a place to live on the military base, but I didn't want to take that away from you. Your life is here. I'd get to start a new school, wouldn't I? Yes. Kylie smiled. Then I'm sure. Mama thought about baby bookworm too. New teachers, a new school, a new routine. Then she chuckled softly. Well, she said, the folks on Laurelville might be relieved to not have to deal with baby bookworm anymore. Kylie laughed. Okay, Mama said at last. I'll make the arrangements. A few months later, boxes were packed, goodbyes were said, and the family moved to Microtech. When they opened the door to their new place, Kylie gasped. It's a house! Not an apartment, a real house with a yard. Do I have to mow the lawn? Half excited, half shocked. I'll help when I can, Mama said. I can do it, Kylie replied proudly. I'll make it look good. With Mama's new job, she was earning 3 times what she made at the soda shack and the beef brisket. Enough to hire a nanny for baby bookworm, enough to breathe. Mama started work on Monday. Kylie and baby bookworm both started at their new schools, and chaos followed. Kylie made a friend almost immediately. She was thrilled just to have someone to sit with at lunch. Baby bookworm, well, baby bookworm was a different story. Nurse Debbie nearly panicked when she couldn't find him. After searching half the building, she finally discovered him in the big kids' lunchroom devouring a bologna sandwich with cheese and pickles. The little worm was covered in mayonnaise, ketchup, and mustard from head to tail. Other problems followed. The custodian grew increasingly unhappy when someone kept making mysterious messes in the halls, and he was expected to clean them. The robots handled most of the work, but cleaning the robots only made him grumpier. Then there was the staff lunchroom incident. A lady set down her sandwich to get a cup of juice. When she came back, 3 giant bites were missing. The staff argued about who took them. No one noticed the small worm slipping out the door, crumbs on his face, and licking his chops. Mama's first day went very differently. She began basic training to become an engineer, and within the first few hours, her boss stopped and stared at her work. It's like magic, he said. You just know what to do. They were thrilled to have her. That afternoon, Mama sat outside on her break, eating a tuna sandwich on rye with a slice of cheese. She looked up at the sky, at the ships passing overhead, and smiled. "I finally did it," she whispered. "My life is going to be better." She thought of Kylie. She thought of baby bookworm. All of our lives are going to be better. Mama and the problem no one could fix. Mama had only been working on the Microtech military base for a few weeks when the alarms went off. Not the loud, everyone run alarms, the quiet ones. The kind that made engineers stop talking mid-sentence and slowly turn toward the console. A low hum echoed through the maintenance bay as one of the base's primary thermal regulators began to fail. If it shut down completely, an entire section of the base would lose power, and worse, the cooling systems would overload. Robots immediately rolled into position, screens filled with error codes. One engineer muttered, "That shouldn't be happening." Another shook his head. "We replaced that unit last month." Mama stepped closer, wiping her hands on a cloth. "Can I see the internal readout?" she asked. Her supervisor hesitated only a second before nodding. "Go ahead." Mama studied the numbers quietly. Everyone else saw chaos, temperatures climbing, pressure fluctuating, warnings flashing red. Mama saw a pattern. "This isn't a full failure," she said calmly. "It's a feedback loop." "Oh, what?" someone asked. "The regulator is overcorrecting. It thinks it's overheating, so it compensates too hard, which causes the next spike." The room went silent. "That's not in the diagnostics," the supervisor said. Mama crouched down near the access panel. "It wouldn't be. It's not broken. It's confused." She opened the casing and frowned. "Who calibrated this sensor?" One of the engineers checked the log. "Factory default." Mama nodded. "That's the problem." She grabbed a tool and began adjusting the sensor manually. "What are you doing?" someone whispered. "Teaching it the difference between danger and noise." She rerouted a single data line, bypassing the automatic correction algorithm just long enough to stabilize the system. The alarm stopped. The hum softened. Temperatures leveled out across the board. A technician stared at the screen. "It's stable." The supervisor leaned closer. "How long will it hold?" Mama smiled slightly. "Forever, unless someone resets it back to default." A long pause followed. Then someone laughed in disbelief. Another engineer shook his head. "We've been fighting this issue for weeks." Mama shrugged. "At the soda shack, if you don't fix the fryer just right, it breaks in an hour." That earned a few chuckles. Later that day, Mama was called into a small office. She expected paperwork. Instead, the base commander was there. "We've reviewed your test scores and today's incident," he said. Mama sat nervously. "You solved a problem that automated systems and senior engineers couldn't, not because you followed protocol, but because you understood how the system felt." Mama blinked. "I just listened to machines." The commander smiled. "Then we're assigning you to critical systems oversight." Mama walked out of the office in a daze. That evening, she came home tired but glowing. Baby Bookworm crawled toward her, holding a crooked little star he'd earned earlier that day. "For Mama," he chirped. She scooped him up and hugged him tight. Kylie looked up from the table. "Good first day?" Mama laughed softly. "I think I fixed half the base." As she tucked Baby Bookworm into bed later, Mama realized something important. She wasn't just surviving anymore. She was needed. And for the first time, that didn't cost her the people she loved. The night Mama wondered. The house was quiet. Not the peaceful kind of quiet, just the kind that comes after a long day when everyone is finally asleep and there is nothing left to do but think. Baby Bookworm was in his bed, tangled in blankets, one small hand wrapped around a crooked paper star. His breathing was slow and steady. The house was dark, except for the kitchen light. Mama sat at the table with a mug of tea she hadn't touched. Her body ached. Her hands were still rough from work, no matter how many times she washed them. She had cooked dinner, helped with homework, cleaned up, bathed baby bookworm, and tucked him in, all after a full day on base. She had done it all herself, with Kylie's help. Mama stared at the surface of her tea as doubts crept in, one after another. What if I can't keep this up? What if I'm in over my head? What if today was just luck? She had changed everything, moved worlds, taken a job that mattered, a job where mistakes weren't just inconvenient, they were dangerous. Machines were easier than people. Machines didn't need bedtime stories or reassurance or hugs. Mama rubbed her eyes. A soft sound came from the hallway. Kylie stood there, barefoot, hair loose, wearing an oversized sweater. She could tell something was wrong without Mama saying a word. "You okay?" Kylie asked quietly. Mama tried to smile. "I'm just thinking." Kylie pulled out the chair across from her and sat down. "You're worried," she said. Mama nodded. "I'm scared I'm not enough, that I'm doing too much, that I'm going to mess something up, at work or here." Kylie leaned forward. "But you haven't." Mama looked up. "You're tired, but you still show up, every day, for Bookworm, for me, for your job." Mama's voice cracked. "I don't want you to feel like you have to be the other parent." Kylie shook her head. "I'm not. I'm just helping my mom." She smiled softly. "And you've always helped me when I needed it." Mama let out a slow breath. "I don't feel strong," Mama whispered. Kylie reached across the table and took her hand. "You don't have to feel strong. You just have to keep going, and you are." From down the hall came a small, sleepy mumble. Baby Bookworm shifted, then went quiet again. Mama smiled through tired eyes. "I'll get help soon, I promise." Kylie squeezed her hand. "Until then, we've got each other." Later, when Mama finally crawled into bed, the worries were still there, but they weren't as loud. And that was enough for tonight. When Mama finally asked for help. By the end of the week, Mama was running on fumes. She loved her job, she loved her kids, but loving something didn't magically give her more hours in the day or more strength in her body. That afternoon, she arrived at Baby Bookworm's school to pick him up. The hallway smelled faintly of disinfectant and crayons. She smiled automatically as she walked in, but the moment she saw Baby Bookworm waddling toward her, backpack crooked and face smudged with something sticky, something inside her cracked. She knelt down. "Hey, my little worm," she said, and then she couldn't hold it anymore. The tears came fast and quiet. Mama pressed her face into her hands, shoulders shaking. She tried to stop, embarrassed, but exhaustion poured out of her like a broken dam. A gentle hand touched her shoulder. "Mama?" a familiar voice said softly. It was Nurse Debbie. "Come with me," Debbie said calmly, steering her into a small side office. "You're not in trouble, you're just human." Mama sat down, still wiping her eyes. "I'm trying, I really am, but I can't do everything. I don't sleep, I'm always behind. I feel like I'm failing them." Nurse Debbie crossed her arms thoughtfully, then smiled. "Well," she said, "if you need help that badly, I could use another job." Mama blinked. "You what?" Debbie continued. "I already work with Baby Bookworm every day. I don't cost much, and I'm pretty sure I could swing helping you at home, too, taking care of the little worm, getting the kids ready, things like that." Mama stared at her. "You'd do that for me?" Of course, Nurse Debbie said without hesitation. Us ladies have to stick together, and honestly, the little tyke is adorable. I'd love to help if I can. They talked quietly about schedules, about pay, about where Mama lived. By the time Mama left the school, she felt something unfamiliar. Relief. The next morning, Nurse Debbie showed up bright and early. Mama opened the door, hair still damp, eyes tired. "Go on," Debbie said cheerfully. "Go to work. I'll get the kids up, fed, dressed, and to school on time. You don't have to worry." Mama hesitated, then nodded. She kissed baby Bookworm softly. He didn't even stir. She peeked into Kylie's room, where she was snoring peacefully. "Thank you," Mama whispered. At work that day, something strange happened. Her phone didn't ring. No calls from school, no emergency messages, no apologies for something baby Bookworm had accidentally climbed, eaten, or escaped from. Mama finished her work. On the way home, she even stopped at the grocery store. When she walked through the front door, she froze. Dinner was cooking. Baby Bookworm sat happily in his high chair, Kylie was at the table finishing her homework, and there was Nurse Debbie, with Nurse Emma, sitting beside baby Bookworm building something with blocks. Mama blinked. I can't afford 2 nurses." Emma laughed. "Oh, don't worry, you don't have to pay me. This is just for fun. He was working on a project at school and didn't want to stop, so we brought it home." Mama's chest tightened. People loved her kids. Kylie finished her homework and asked if she could go play. Nurse Debbie checked it, nodded yes, and Kylie ran out the door in seconds. Then she ran back in, gave Mama a quick kiss, and darted off again where Cammie and Marie waited with their bikes. "Can I shower?" Mama asked quietly. "Please do," Nurse Debbie said. "Dinner's almost ready." Mama took the longest, hottest shower she'd had in months. When she came out in her pink robe and fluffy slippers, dinner was on the table. Baby Bookworm ate happily. Kylie sat with Marie. A place was set just for Mama. "I thank the heavens you're here," Mama said softly. "It's my pleasure. I'm happy to be part of this family." After dinner, baby Bookworm yawned. Debbie gave him a bath, put him in a fresh diaper and his little spider onesie, and tucked him into bed, already asleep by the time the blanket was pulled up. Later, Kylie's friend went home, and Mama and Kylie curled up to watch their favorite sci-fi show, the one about a man who flew places in a box and rescued people along the way. Nurse Debbie stayed and watched with them. When the show ended, Kylie went to bed. Mama drifted off on the couch. Nurse Debbie gently placed a blanket over her, locked the door behind her, and headed home. As she walked beneath the stars, she smiled to herself. "I finally have enough money to buy my nephew that Frisbee he's wanted for Christmas." Above her, the stars twinkled. At home, baby Bookworm dreamed of flying over endless sandwiches, arms spread wide, drooling happily into his pillow. And for the first time in a long while, everyone slept peacefully.
The house grew quiet at last. Mama slept peacefully on the couch, wrapped in a blanket, her breathing slow and steady. The long day was finally over, and the stars outside the window blinked softly, as if keeping watch. Baby Bookworm peeked out from his room. He tiptoed across the page, careful not to wake Mama. His little feet made no sound at all. He looked back once, smiled, and nodded proudly. Then baby Bookworm turned toward you. He lifted one tiny hand and gave a happy wiggle. "That's the end, people," he said in his small, cheerful voice. "Mama needs sleep now." He waved again, nice and slow, just like he practiced. With a quiet giggle, baby Bookworm shuffled toward the edge of the page. As he went, the stars twinkled a little brighter, and the lights dimmed just enough to feel cozy. One last wave, and then baby Bookworm walked right off the page. Good night.